Well, here we are. Don't know where we are really. Hearn and Bellew talk the talk. Fight camp week 2 after a stunning fight camp week 1. Tony, you came down for the media day. I have to be honest, it just surpassed all expectations for me. Yeah. The response we've had worldwide has been unbelievable. The fights on the card all worked out fantastic. Right now, I'm like a dog with two dicks. Next Monday, if it don't go this well, this Friday, maybe that I'm just getting stick again. But right now, I'm taking all the plaudits. That was some night at fight camp last Saturday.
It was brilliant, mate. It was absolutely fantastic. Eggington and Cheeseman lived up to all expectation. As I'd said before, I literally 5 minutes before the fight went on, I looked on my social media and I just said, guys, strap in. You're getting ready for fight of the year. I just knew that fight could not disappoint because for either one of them to win it, they would have had to go through hell and back. And they did. I thought Cheeseman was the deserved win. It was very close, but I thought he'd done enough in the first half of the fight. It was just brilliant. And then I had personal success in Jordan Gill getting over the line against Bellotti, box to orders. Very, very technically sound and safe. That's what he was. So that was a great win. Wardley, Valili. I was disappointed in Valili because I don't think he's shown his actual ability of what he's capable of. I think he was gun shy at the start. He was a bit nervous, apprehensive. A fight being a heavyweight against a touted heavyweight, I think that put the nerves on him a little bit. I don't want to say the shitters, but the nerves on him a little bit. So that's why he was like a rabbit trapped in the headlights, mate. He really was. And you can't knock Wardley. Strong, vicious, brilliant finish. And it was very, very good.
I think when you look back at some of those fights, those 3 fights that you mentioned there, Calls, Eggington, Cheeseman, unbelievable. Both guys hurt repeatedly in that fight. And, fair play to both of them. Jordan Gill, again, good performance. Fabio Wardley rolls on, looks to have many more levels in the locker, certainly, and that's going to be an exciting journey as well. One of the standout performances, I think a lot of people talking about, even in America as well, was the performance of Dalton Smith.
Yes.
Looked razor sharp, fast hands. And Nathan Bennett came out the traps, caught him with some peaches in the first round. Yeah. I was thinking, no easy fights at fight camp. Maybe we've bitten off more we can chew here, but stay composed, great shot selection and a stunning knockout.
It was, caught him on, just behind the ear, and there's no recovering from them. Eddie was out like a light. It was hard for him to watch because this was his big opportunity. And as I say, we knew that he's a strong, tough boy, but sometimes being tough just isn't enough, as it's shown. And Dalton Smith showed absolute quality. His shot selection was really good. He's been raved on a little bit for me, and it's all hype at the minute. There's no proof to all this hype behind him, but it showed on Saturday night, mate, why they're all hyping about him, why they're all raving on him, and let's just see where it goes from here.
I think a lot of those fighters with that GB experience, he's boxed in World Series of Boxing multiple times as well. They're just going to look better, aren't they, against better fighters and kids who come to fight.
Of course, I'd say that WSB experience stands them in great stead. The fight, it's basically a professional boxing. The vests off, the head guards off, the 3-minute rounds. And the best thing about it, it's against fellow great fighters from the amateur scene. So you're gaining basically professional experience while you're still in the amateurs. They just them bouts on your record. I mean, Lomachenko has had, 30, 40 WSBs. Alexander Usyk's the same. So in retrospect and hindsight, they've had more professional experience than the guys that actually facing the world champions. I'd say it's only going to stand them in good stead. And we'll see just how quick now you want to move the likes of Dalton on. Because, in my opinion, he's English title level, no problem. That's the level as he should be at. He should be at 10-round, 12-round fights now against guys who...
how far do you feel he is away from, Lewis Ritsons and Robbie Davis Juniors and people like... would you... do you believe he could compete and beat those guys now? Or is that... are we talking about, 6, 12 months down the line?
No, I believe he can compete with them guys, but the only difference is it's the experience of being able to compete with them guys for the full 12-round duration. So for now, I'm pretty confident in saying Dalton Smith can go in there and compete with these guys for 6 rounds, maybe 8 at a push, but he's not going to be able to get through them championship rounds because he hasn't got the experience of being there and doing it. And that's the position he's at the minute. So for you matching him, you have to maybe bring him to a guy who's never been stopped, goes the distance constantly against these guys, but just loses ever. He falls short of the championship level. A kind of a gatekeeper. That's what you have to find out. Maybe at British and European level, but he never gets stopped because you need him now to get into them rounds 8 to 12. He's got to get in there because it doesn't matter how much sparring you do in the gym, how much experience you get with sparring, and whoever it's against, it can be against world-class guys. It doesn't matter. It only matters under the lights on the night, and that's the kind of rounds where we need to see Dalton Smith in now. The championship rounds from round 6 onwards all the way through to 12.
Another stoppage victory for James Tennyson. Yeah. Gavin Gwynn was tough as nails. And again, there were times where I was thinking, I'd say, if he hangs in here, and it just become too much. He got a right hand. I think his orbital bone might have gone, and he just sort of a little delay and went down. He tried and tried, but the hands of James Tennyson just too heavy.
Gwynn showed some serious bollocks, mate. He really did. And a brain as well, by the way, because when Tennyson nailed him, he was completely, he was gone. And it takes, people will say sometimes, a coward will go on a knee and do that. He tried to give himself the best opportunity. He took the knee, tried to get up and be ready. He got up, but he just couldn't recover the top and bottom of it. He showed immense bravery by trying to carry on. Tennyson, mate, is just a beast. I can't wait to see who you're matching with next. I'm excited. Since moving up in weight, he's been a complete revelation, a different fighter. And we all see the limitations against Tevin Farmer. And Tevin Farmer's world class anyway. But you know, when you're draining yourself in weight massively the way he was, and then going up against world-class opposition, there's only going to be one outcome every time. I've experienced that myself against Jonas Stevenson many years ago. You cannot drain yourself in weight and then perform to a world-class standard or ability.
Well, yes, week 1 was a banger. Week 2, it's a Friday night this time. Check the weather forecast. I ordered it in, 32 degrees and sun. You know, Tom, when we kick off on Friday night at 7 p.m, it's going to be 30 degrees out there in the garden, which, you know, seriously is warm. It's going to be warm out there. And some really interesting fights on the card. Firstly, the first up is Aqib Fiaz against Kane Baker. Aqib Fiaz, you know there with Jamie Moore, sparred many rounds with Carl Frampton. Got a nice step up against Kane Baker, who's kind of not quite materialised to British level, but area level, English level. Very, very tough. Very durable, turned up fight camp with all the gear on. He had a pair of Air Force Ones branded up with Fight Camp and Sky Sport. I mean, like, he's going to levels in this fight. Again, he's absolute FA Cup final, and I guess we're going to see what Aqib Fiaz is all about.
There's a lot of hype behind Aqib Fiaz once again. You know, Frampton speaks highly of him. I spoke to Jamie Moore about him a couple of times, and Jamie's like, Tone, trust me, this kid can really, really fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got. Baker is a gradual step up. You know, let's see if he can do it against him. And now you've let me know that he's turned up with a brand new pair of Air Force Ones with Sky Sports on them. He's obviously not there for the short game, is he? He's there for the long run, mate. He thinks he can spring it here. So let's see. That should make for a good fight. Another one I'm looking forward to.
I think a lot of those guys, I mean, Nathan Bennett the same. I know that, you know, he got beat, but I thought he carried himself really well, spoke well on fight camp, you know, during the week, had a really good go. For someone like Kane Baker, this is a massive opportunity as well. I mean, of course you want to win, but also if you can give a great fight in these times, in this environment, you're going to get another opportunity.
I've said from the start, this pandemic and this situation and the scenario you're putting these guys in, this can create superstars, mate. I'm telling you now. You know, Cheeseman is known 10 times more just off Saturday night than he was beforehand, because he's always been the undercard guy. He's always been the guy who's just on the peripheral edge, but now he's thrust into the spotlight on Saturday night, and he's had his moments against Sam Eggington. So, you know, could this be the same for Kane Baker? Can Kane Baker get himself in and amongst it, shock everybody against Aqib Fiaz, and, you know, gain some momentum for his career going forward? Like I've said before, it can just, these times can create some genuine new up-and-coming domestic superstars, you know, because let's be honest, you know, these guys at the moment are looking at British titles and how they can progress on from there. These are steps towards them things.
One of the guys that I think has really caught the attention, every time I speak to him, I mean, Fabio Wardley really impressed me last week, the way he carried himself, the way he spoke to the media. Another guy is Billum Smith, you know, looks great. They call him the gentleman, very well-spoken, very bright, you know, in great shape, lives right, good role model, and a good fighter. You know, lost a very tight fight with Richard Riakporhe for the British Cruiserweight Championship. Come back, beat your man, Craig Glover, for the Commonwealth Championship. Fights Nathan Thorley on Friday night, undefeated from Wales, under Gary Lockett as well. But Billum Smith could be a little bit of a dark horse in the division.
Billum Smith could. I've seen him up close and personal. I think he's a very good fighter. Devastating check left hook that he's got there. I'm not so confident in his right hand as I am his left hook, but as I say, a good all-round boxer, good pedigree. Shane McGuigan's a good coach, so he's trained by someone who's a good quality coach. Thorley comes in with good amateur experience. People have talked about him on the amateur scene being a good quality kid, and he's got a very good coach in Gary Lockett, as you've just touched on. Gary Lockett is someone who I really, really rate as a coach. He really is. So it's got all the ingredients to be a decent fight, but it's one I expect Billum Smith to come through, and possibly by stoppage as well. He's now gained the experience against punches. He's gone over the 12-round distance. He's been there and seen it and done it, and he should be seeing off Thorley, if I'm being totally honest. So it's one I expect Billum Smith to come through. By stoppage would be a really, really good result, but by any means possible when you're at this kind of level.
It's really good, the cruiserweight division at the moment. I mean, I know we talk about when you were going on to world level at cruiserweight, but even beneath you at the time, there wasn't really a lot of big names, and there was some fading names in there as well, Matty Askin and Oval McKenzie and these kind of guys. All of a sudden, you've got Lawrence Okoli who's fighting Glowacki for the world title, but beneath that, you've got Riakporhe who's going to have to fight Dion Juma, which is a really good fight. You've got Chris Billum Smith. You've got Tommy McCarthy that's mandatory for the European title as well, who had a good win.
Right.
And I think for me, if Chris Billum Smith can be successful on Friday night, I would like to make Billum Smith against Tommy McCarthy for the European title.
That's a really good fight. It really is. The thing with Tommy is Tommy's still yet to fulfill his full potential. And I know that personally. I've had Tommy in many rounds. Yeah. Say that again.
Had him in sparring, McCarthy.
Yes, I've had him in for a number of times. Made a few camps I had him in, and he always impressed me. He really did, the way he carries himself. How his confidence, can punch a bit. Don't be fooled by that, thinking he's a non-puncher. He's definitely not a non-puncher. He can hit you hard enough to get your attention. Quick, can be slick at times. So he's somebody who's going to show what he's all about as time goes on. So that's a really good fight that you're looking at making as time goes on. But for now, Billum Smith can't look past Thorley. He's just got to get the job done, Ed. He really hasn't. And, once again, this is his moment to shine. Steal the limelight. Go out there and get a brutal knockout win on your ledger, because, we haven't really seen that from yet. He got past Craig Glover. It wasn't this big knockout display that, it kind of looks on paper. Craig was stopped on his feet, or needed to be stopped, albeit, by the way. But, you want a signature performance at times like this. That's what you want. You want to go on the TV and you want everyone to be talking about you after the show. Look what we're all talking about after Saturday night. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a few we're talking about, but the main standout performer was Ted Cheeseman against Sam Eggington. And you want to be that name spoken about, like Ted Cheeseman's being spoken about now. And we've got other people on the bill as well. There's Hopi Price versus Johnny Phillips, which I know Little Legs is absolutely fucking furious about.
I want people to know more about these kind of, just the fight itself, but also the story behind it. And the story behind Hopi Price against Johnny Phillips is we couldn't find anyone for Hopi Price. And we
wants to fight him.
No, and also, but there's some guys with journeyman with records that I'm trying to sell Fight Camp.
Yes.
No fights, right? We can find a journeyman that would give Opie a good run out, but on paper it just doesn't look right for what we're selling. So upsets Johnny Phillips, who's boxed as heavy as light welterweight before, who has banjoed Nathaniel Wilson, Nigel Penn's son, Chris Eubank's son. Sorry, one of those.
Okay.
And up at light welterweight, and we get to kind of Friday or Saturday of last week, and it's almost a case to Dave Caldwell of we've got Johnny Phillips, who look you should beat. But he's very, very dangerous. I think his record is 7-6 or something like that. But I saw him in November at the Echo against Stephen Smith. Came out. I mean, Stephen Smith won well, but he had a right go.
But look at the level Stephen Smith mixed that, Ed, and that's what you've got to look at here. So Dave will be looking at going, you match fucking Stephen Smith with him. Stephen Smith fought for 2 world titles or 1 world title, whatever it is. And although he might have been a loser, the fella's come in and give a good account for himself. And there was times in the fight where Stephen wants rounds when he's coming up against someone like Johnny Phillips, but he's tucking up and he's taking a few back, and I know exactly how Dave's thinking. Dave's thinking, fucking, I don't need this for my lad right now.
19 years of age. I mean, it's not, it's not.
But
honest,
at the end of the
beyond.
It's come to it now, Edward, as we've been going on about these fight camp and the matches that you want to make. You want to see guys tested, and you're not throwing them to the wolves. You're not putting them in a fight where the guy's 7 or 8-0 and he's got like 5 knockouts. You're not doing that. But what you're doing is you just want to see if all this smoke and all this hype around this kid is deserved, and you will find that out against Johnny Phillips. The thing with someone like Hobie Price is he's a nightmare to manage, and he's a nightmare to match as he's going through, because he looks so good technically. He's perfect, the southpaw stance. He just looks so good and accomplished already as he's only into the pros. But Hobie Price, I'm pretty sure, I'm actually thinking that he'll actually shock Johnny Phillips. He'll give Johnny Phillips something to think about. And I just expect...
Are you saying to Hobie Price, listen,
don't mix it.
Box to instructions, you do, and literally every round, you've got to think, if he stops him, it's incredibly impressive,
Yes.
Yeah. So every round is like back to the corner. Listen, you do that again. You do not, and it's just a case of getting through those 6 rounds, wiping the brow and saying, thank God for that.
It is, but at the same time, he'll have things he's going to work on. He'll be so much sharper and so much quicker than Johnny Phillips that, it'll be straight away. You'll see the difference. You'll just see how sharp he is and how classy and good he is. One thing that I hope he's going to have to do in this fight is go in and watch what your teammate, your gym mate done last week in Jordan Gill. Stayed calm, stayed composed, was always thinking about his exit strategy in the ring, was always thinking about the way out even when he's landed. And that's how Hobie Price has to, approach this fight. Because Johnny Phillips will just be looking to take his head off, hoping to win the lottery with one punch. And Hobie Price has got to nail him every time down the pipe as he comes in and make him pay. And hopefully, Johnny Phillips feels it. Because the worst thing that Hobie Price can have happen on Friday night is he comes out, first round bell goes, and they go whack, and he hits Johnny Phillips with a perfect left hand, and Johnny Phillips just goes. And that's you don't want that. That's the one thing that you do not want as a fighter. You nail someone perfect in the first 20, 30 seconds of the bout, and he just goes. I've been there and done it, mate. It's not a nice thing when they do that to you. So hopefully it doesn't.
Were you the one getting hit, game, or were you the one hitting?
Nah, I've usually been the one hitting, mate. I remember hitting Paul bouncing on the top of the head and doing me right hand, and he just looked at me as if to say, I've been here and done this, lad, got the T-shirt, and I just thought, oh, for fuck's sake.
Must be happy with your performance from Saturday night.
Yeah, very happy. It went just how I would have liked it to, so it couldn't have gone any better.
Obviously, a good opponent in Nathan Bennett, very tough, as you can see. Like a couple of blokes, especially in the first round as well. But did you feel that, much more sharper in that fight against a live opponent that you probably have done with less fear so far in your career? Yeah,
definitely. Obviously I knew Nathan was going to be a good kid, and I didn't see much footage on him as well because, they took everything off the internet, all the fights and stuff. So to be honest, I come out and I had to have a good look in first to see what he was going to bring. But I think after the first round, once I settled in, I felt comfortable. And
Tony, as we said, a good performance. Obviously, in a sick kind of way. It's nice to see a young prospect with a couple of black eyes.
It is, mate.
Actually, we found the right opponent, but it was almost the perfect step up at the right time for Dalton Smith.
It is, and it wasn't just a gimme for him. He had to earn the win. As I say, Bennett is a really, really tough kid. Stiachen gets his lads in great shape. So he's went there expecting to win. He didn't come there to turn up to get rounds and to give Dalton Smith, an opportunity to look good. He went there to beat Dalton Smith. He came up short on the night, and I'd say, Dalton, it was a very, very vicious finish from you, mate. It really, really was. But you were showing bits of quality before the finish came. I'd say for such a big one-punch finish to come out of the blue like that against someone like Nathan Bennett is a shock. So congratulations, well done, mate. You need to stay on the golf course for a bit, enjoy your little bit of time off, but get back to the gym.
I need to stay on. I'm terrible.
How is the golf, Dalton?
I need to show me a few tips.
Where are you at the moment? Are you on the green? Are you on the fairway? Are you in the rough? Where are you?
Sure, this is my mate, Alex.
Mate,
how you doing?
All right,
Alex, are you on the tee? Right, Alex, can you take the phone and can you show us Dalton Smith's tee shot?
I'll just show you how bad he is.
That's it, lad. Come on,
no pressure, mate.
Well, you can.
Are you on the range? Or you? All right, okay.
No, I'm on the golf course.
Right, come on then.
It's a little par 3, 140 yards downhill. Let's see what he's got.
They've let you on.
Make sure he's on a proper tee, not the girl. Make sure he's on a proper tee, not the girl's tee, mate.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Hey,
no, listen, we can't see it. Just say it went on the green. It's fine. We couldn't see it.
All in
I
one.
seen it. It didn't go past the women's tee, so you know what you're supposed to do? Get your cock out now and walk.
Hacks down. Dalton, listen, before we leave you, you must have...
I just flip this round.
Go on then. Flip it round, I don't know.
Hey, Alex, how would you flip this round?
They've even got buggies. They're not even bothered about going for the walk.
Buggies and everything. Although the team...
You're paying too much money
listen,
now.
We'll let you crack on and go and find your boy in the trees. You must have... You know, one thing with Fight Camp is, I hope you noticed as well, the attention around it, your social media, everything. I mean, you had everything, you know, people from the States watching as well. It was a big weekend in the career of Dalton Smith. Yeah,
it was massive, and you know, I think it was a stage where I had to put a good performance in to boost my profile like that. And you know, since the weekend, my social media has gone mad, so it's definitely done me a lot of good.
Good man. We'll have a good break, and one more before the end of the year, a little English title or something like that. We'll see you soon, mate.
Definitely. Thank you, Eddie. Nice one, Tony.
Good luck, mate. Enjoy yourself.
The man himself, he's just had to come out of a photo shoot. I'm so sorry this is an honour.
I was going to say, is he obviously having a bout now?
I was busy then, lad.
Looking good, Fowler. Look, you got a good fight on Friday night. Adam Harper pestered the life out of me to fight you or Cheeseman or Fitz or one of our light middles. He got the call. He's absolutely relentless. He's got a great chin, and looking forward to seeing the improvements you've made under Shane McGuigan on Friday night.
Yeah, I think his aggressive style will play into my hands nicely. As a pro, I'm used to like chasing kids around the ring and stuff, so him to come to me be a nice change for me, and I can work on my counter punches, like look for a few holes, and I can show a little different aspect of my game. Forget all playing to my hands nice, and the more game he is, the more I'll punish him.
Talk about the fight on Saturday night, incredible. Sam Eggington against Ted Cheeseman. Honestly, after about 3 rounds, I can't remember who I looked to, and I said, bloody hell, I'd love to see Cheeseman against Fowler. Love to see Eggington against Fowler. I mean, that division right now, obviously you got Fitz, hopefully comes back at the end of this year as well. You've got even Kieran Conway boxing Nav Mansouri in week 3 of Fight Camp as well. Firstly, your thoughts on the fight, presuming you saw it, and a great performance from both.
Yeah, it was a really good fight. They both really determined lads, both really tough. I think Ted deserved the win. He dug in the last round, even especially when he was hurt. He come back and hurt Sam, so show how determined he is. And as a fighter, I respect Cheeseman a lot. He's a really tough lad, very gritty, very determined. And me and him, could be the end of the year, who knows.
Obviously, Eggington as well was deflated in defeat, but I said to him after the fight, I thought he boxed really well. You know, he got hurt early in the fight. I thought he came back. I thought technically even there were signs during the fight that he was improving as well, and still a big player in the domestic division at 154.
Yeah, he did, you know, he did himself proud, but I do think he got beat. I don't think it was a bad decision. I think Ted deserved the fight by like 2 or 3 rounds. He's a better boxer, showed more quality throughout, and I think it was the right decision. But Sam, like, you can't like, got loads of respect for him too, because he's such a tough lad, always near weight corner, always shows up, but I think Ted was a deserved winner that night.
Fowler, we know that obviously your last run out was a nice little Eddie Gimme payday for you. The geezer turned up with a pair of ice skates on. You had a right touch, to be fair. But you have boxed this year in a way. You have been paid this year, and you are entering your 2nd fight of the year in August. It's kind of like the pandemic hasn't really affected Anthony Fowler, and it looks like, obviously, 2nd wave permitting or whatever it was, you will box 3 times this year. So important to get a good win on Friday night. And then who do you want at the end of 2020? You know, we know that Fitz is more likely now to happen in the next part of next year, but you know, you look at those fights, and one fight that a few people are talking about, I know he hasn't quite got the profile, but I know Tony likes this fight, is that JJ Metcalf as well. And that, if that British title becomes vacant, it's going to be interesting where the board go with you and Ted, and you know, even JJ Metcalf in that mix as well. It's a big fight for Liverpool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually for a favour after this fight. Obviously, come through the win, get me that British title fight against Metcalf, because Tony will tell you, in Liverpool, it's a massive, massive fight. Metcalf's well known in Liverpool. We've been talking about the fight for years, so he's an ABA champion too, and Commonwealth champion. So maybe for both the belts, British and Commonwealth, it'd be a massive fight. That hopefully is crowd, because obviously that'll sell out the M&S arena.
Tony, big fight for Liverpool. That one is one you've talked about in the past. The fight you love.
It is, mate, a fight that I really, really like. I think the difference with Ant is when you go down the Eggington and Cheeseman road, Ant's the biggest puncher out of all of them by far, I think. I really do genuinely believe that. So, you know, if he does go in with a Cheeseman or he does go in with an Eggington, I think his power come to the forefront massively in them fights. Against JJ Metcalf, now they're just two really strong boys who really just want to fight. And you can't really separate Ant and JJ at the minute. I'm not sure how many bouts JJ's had now, but he's had a fair number. I think it's a fair few more than Ant. But it's just it's a fascinating fight that I really, really want to see. And as I say, Ant's now moved up with Shane McGuigan, a really good coach as well. So you just want to see how they're playing out at the minute, and maybe a couple of opponents in comparison to each other, see how they compare against opponents who they've faced themselves. So I don't know, mate. It's going to be interesting. But first, Ant, you've got to come through Friday night and, you know, and look good doing it, mate, because that's what you want to do. With a stage like this in front of you, know, you go out there, you look on the garden, you look at the ring. It's a dream, mate. It really is. And, you know, you're getting a massive opportunity. Go out there, give it everything you've got, shine and steal the limelight on the night, mate, because by doing that, you just create a bigger profile for yourself going forward.
Yeah, and I mean, you would have seen Saturday night. It's unbelievable down here at the office. I'm going to come over to the hotel shortly and get one up my nose. It's an interesting tactic from you, because when you were getting the swab up your nose, you're actually opening your mouth at the same time. I mean, I've not seen that technique before.
I panicked and just done that. I just panicked. I didn't know what was happening, mate. Never seen it.
You found it down there at the hotel. As the week goes on, it does. Honestly, it's a weird experience. Like everyone just becomes really excited to get out, and then when you arrive here at fight camp, you know the excitement's off the chain. But 24 hours you've been in there so far or so on. You okay down there?
Well, it reminds me of like the international scene with GB, because you get put in a little hotel in the middle of nowhere, and you're having your breakfast and your opponent's next to you, like a few chairs down. So I've been there and done it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it reminds me of the GB days. Like, I seen Harper this morning walk around on the phone somewhere, and like, I'm used to all that. So he see me and turn around and walk the other way. But I say hello to the guy. There's no bad blood there. It's just a fight, innit? It's a sport, and best man will win on Friday night.
I know he's got a lot of respect for you, but he did tell me on the phone he thinks you're overrated and can't punch very hard. So, you know, we'll have to see what happens. I don't want to start any trouble.
You'll find out the hard way, won't he?
I'll see you at the press conference tomorrow, mate, and we look forward to a big night for you on
lads. See you soon. See you later. Bye-bye.
The main event, Fight Camp Week 2, the first ever All-British Women's World Championship fight between Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas, WBC title, IBO title on the line. Harper just on fire at the moment, full of confidence, but Natasha Jonas looks like she is trained like an animal in this fight, in great shape. I know the whole gym there at Gallagher's gym as well is got behind her. They've all been training her and pushing her in camp. Tony, for Natasha, this is it, isn't it? The chance of, we know the pro career hasn't quite gone as expected, but a chance on Saturday to become WBC world champion.
Listen, what you've done for Tasha is absolutely fantastic. No complaints. Tasha's pro career hasn't gone the way she'd have wanted it to go. There's been a couple of setbacks along the way, but you've come through for her, and you've given her a fantastic opportunity ahead. And this, believe you me, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You know, at Natasha's age, she's not going to want to go back up the rankings and try and get herself to a mandatory shot after this. You know what I mean? Because it's a long road back. It really is. After losing the WBC world title fight, you know, I'm a perfect example of that. You know how many years we worked after losing the WBC title shot to get right the way back there. It was many years, maybe 3, 4, 5 years. It's always to get it. So she's got to go in there. She's got it all to do. Terry Harper is a girl who is very confident the minute she's flying the crest of a wave. She really is. And I watched her, as I say, last night against Wallstrom, and she was brilliant. She really, really was. She didn't just, she went in there, and remember the saying years ago, you have to really rip the title away from a champion. She done that. She really done that. And for Tasha, she's got to go in there and meet fire with fire, in my opinion. Tasha is someone who can punch, is strong, and she needs to put it on Terry Harper, I believe, to get this win.
Interesting mix here in the two trainers, two good people, two boxing people, Stefy Ball and Joe Gallagher as well. Joe, with his usual fun and games, obviously everybody was supposed to turn up yesterday to be tested, etc. And, you know, Joe decided not to. I doubt it was Tasha's opinion, but is that
definitely not Tasha's doing? Absolutely ridiculous.
That for a long time. You know, do you buy that? Do you think it's advantageous for a fighter, or do you think it's Joe trying to get in the head of Terry Harper?
Just stick to what you've asked. You know, as an organisation and as a brand, Matchroom have said, we want you here at this time. No superstars here. Everyone arrive at the time. Everyone get tested here. Everyone locate and get things done that they need to be done. Have your photo shoot. You've got an allocation, Ed, for everybody in camp. Everyone's got their slot. So by turning up late and a day late, you're putting everyone else in jeopardy and everybody else. I'm not saying at risk because the isolation, the way it's all done, no one's at risk at all. But you've just messed things up when you didn't need to be messed up. Why do that? Who's that advantageous to? No one's gaining an advantage here. If anything, it just makes Tasha look bad because now it's all out in the media that, oh, she's come down a day late because, and people will portray that and go, does she think she's a superstar? Well, I'll just clarify. Tasha Jonas does not think she's a superstar at all. It's just a trainer trying to play stupid games. That's all that's down to. Or the fact that he doesn't want to leave his fighters.
Yeah, we expect those games to continue this week. And I think, knowing Joe, listen, Joe's desperate for Natasha Jonas to win this fight. So
am I. But I don't expect her to take that role.
I would expect for the next couple of days, Joe to carry on, try and get into Stefy Ball. Because Stefy Ball, and it kind of feels like Stefy Ball is almost the confidence of, is the driver in the Terry Harper team. So do you think Joe's kind of thinking, if I can disrupt Stefy and get in his head, is that going to affect?
But why is he doing that? Because it's not about him. It's purely about Tasha. He gives her a drink in between rounds. That's it. It's about Tasha. This is Tasha's moment. This is Tasha's chance to fulfill a lifelong dream. And you're taking it all up, the opportunities to make it about you. Just leave it to Tasha and Terry Harper. Simple as that. That's what it's about. Tasha Jonas is fighting for the WBC Championship of the world. It's not Joe Gallagher isn't fighting for it. Believe it or not, it's Tasha. So just let her fight, let her do a thing, and what will be, will be. I'm urging Tasha to win more than anyone, well, as much as anyone, I should say. I really am. I go back with the Jonas family. I've known them all my life, growing up with them. To me, my dad's friends with all the family, and I've grown up around them. So I really hope and urge for that she gets this done, but he is not making it any easier for it. If anything, he's making it harder because these officials, these judges, these watch these shows at, and these form an opinion of people. So if they're going to form an opinion of the likes of Joe Gallagher, or imagine these form an opinion of Tasha, thinking, oh, she thinks she's a superstar. She turned up a day late. We had to all turn up the day before. It's just. I've been here and done this before. I had judges in the British Boxing World of Control in fights that I've been in, and they scored me fights, and I've thought, how could you possibly have got that score? And then I've looked back over the times in previous fights they've done it.
You called him an arsehole a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, I've behaved like a bit of a tit in a press conference, or I've behaved like a bit of a maniac in a weigh-in, and that official was there. I won't name the official, but I had one official score 2 fights of mine really close, and they were just landslide wins. A British Boxing World official, and he knows who he is, but he just went against me in 2 big fights. Well, they weren't big fights, they were title fights, but he just chose to go against me for that reason. And it's because of the persona that he'd made on me, the judgment that he'd made on me based on what happens through social media, based on what gets told on Sky Sports News, based on what gets done with the likes of what we're doing here.
Well, we're going to hear from the trainer of Terry Harper, Stefy Ball. Well, I'm delighted to be joined now from the bubble. I'm coming in that bubble in a couple of hours. Stefy Ball. Mate, I've noticed things are spicing up, Stefy. Things are spicing up. I mean, I just saw Terry's interview, a couple of choice words about Natasha Jonas. But first, how's life treating you down there in the bubble?
All good. First day, obviously, a bit like being in prison. Not that I've been in prison, but my imagination felt like I've been there. But we're all settled. It weren't what I expected. I thought we were going to be together. I should have done a phone call and picked a few more things up. But yeah, it was fine. It was a long day. What a bit draining, but we're here now, and today's been really good. I'm really enjoying it.
Good. Terry looks great. She looks in tremendous shape as well. The confidence, what I'm seeing from her is exuding everywhere right now. Are you happy with her, where her mindset is? Has she got to be? Has she got to be composed here? You don't want her to get carried away with the moment. It seems to be riding a crest of a wave.
Yeah, I just think she's enjoying herself, Eddie. She finally believes what I've been telling you for the last 12 months in DMs. And can you do this, Eddie? Can you do that, Eddie? And when you finally got us over the line, I mean, she's always been this good and this special, but she didn't believe it. She didn't realise how good she was. And now, after beating Eva and good performance against Obernoff before that, it's just self-confidence. She's so young. She's come from 6 months ago, mate, working in a chip shop. She's here on biggest stages in the world. She's just loving every minute, and she don't want it to end. She knows now this is life-changing.
I know Joe Gallagher well, as do you. I know Natasha Jonas well. I certainly don't think Natasha Jonas means any disrespect by not being. Do you think this is a Joe Gallagher move, a Joe Gallagher special? Are you expecting some fun and games over the next couple of days?
But listen, it's going to be fun. It's fight week. He knows he's in a fight. Joe's a clever guy, and I respect him. You know, coming through as a young coach, he's the kind of people that you look up to as a coach, and everyone does things their own ways. I mean, to tell Sky Sports that he'd hear a story, Terry getting dropped in sparring. I mean, you know, he's got to get something going, and I think he thinks Terry's young. Let's try something that's not happened, but it's all tongue in cheek. It means nothing to us. At the end of the day, I mean nothing. Joe mean nothing. It's down to Tash and it's down to Terry. They're the fighters. It's their night, and they'll have a fantastic night, and the best will win. Are
you expecting Joe to try and get in Terry's head a little bit tomorrow at the press conference and so forth? You know her better than anyone. Is that even possible?
It won't. Terry's that placid, that cool. Nothing bothers her. She's just loving it here now. She's times have changed. She's the champion now. She knows. She beat a very good champion in Eva Wallström. She beat a very good fighter in the Obernoff. They weren't hard fights, were they, Eddie? I mean, take a couple out of her 10 fights. I think if you look, she's only lost 4 rounds. So it's just what she's always lacked is experience and confidence. Knowing that she can do the 10, but she's done 10 rounds back to back against world-class fighters, whereas Jonas hasn't done that. Jonas has been a very good amateur, and you can do nothing but respect that. But Tony will agree, this is not amateur boxing. We've got little gloves on, 8 ounce, and set like concrete. Terry, it's very hard, and this ain't amateur boxing. It's pro boxing, and it's different. So I don't care. You can bring up, I've done this, I've done that. I had Robbie Barrett who couldn't win an amateur fight, and we went and beat Cardell on a few weeks' notice. Gavin McDonald didn't have an amateur fight. Jamie McDonald did nothing. This is pro boxing, and amateur boxing's amateur, and that's just my opinion. There's nothing to compare. And Terry's got the form. Terry's the world champion, and she's shown why she's world champion. And Natasha Anton, it's as simple as that, really. And that's not being disrespectful. That's just the facts of this fight.
Tony. First off, it's nice to hear you come out, Stefy, and say, you know, it's not about us, it's about the fighters, because the way it's being portrayed here and him coming down a day later, it's ridiculous, really. Tasha won't have wanted to do that. That won't be Tasha's doing whatsoever. And, making it the fight about himself is just absolutely pathetic in my eyes.
Tony, today is great for fighters. We're in here with media. Terry's having photo shoots. This is a once in a life. This might never happen again, and that's been taken away from Tasha, and it's disappointing.
It makes Terry feel like the world champion that she is, Stefy.
Yeah,
it's nice to have that media attention,
she's only
spotlight on you.
23-year-old, and she's like, at least we're being professional, aren't we? That's what she's saying, and
that's what it's all about.
We're here doing a job. We're contracted for this, and we're loving every minute.
Yeah, I'd say it's very, very good.
Obviously, Tony, Natasha from Liverpool, you know her well as well. Good fighter. I think one thing that I've noticed is she looks in tremendous shape, and I think, and knowing about the little, the gym there and Joe and everyone, I've noticed as well. Beefy's on board, Callum's on board. They've really pushed her in this camp, but she's meeting someone in Terry Harper that is absolutely full of confidence.
It's a massive opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for her. It's a life-changing opportunity that she needs to take with both hands. But as Steffi's just touched on, what Tasha's greatest assets have been shown as is in an amateur ring with a vest on so far in her career. You need to exchange that over into the pros now. And Steffi's right. It's what it is. It's 2 different sports, mate. It's like saying, because both sports are played with the ball, rugby and football the same. That's how different they are. So, she's got to show the ability that she's shown in the amateurs now in the pros. Terry's shown that. I actually seen the Wallström fight last night. It was actually shown on Sky Sports. And it was just brilliant viewing the way she, dealt with her. And that was a champion, mate, who not known defeat in a long, long time. So she's shown that she can deal with the big events, the big pressure. And now it's up to Tasha, mate, to rock the boat. Because, Tasha is the underdog coming into this bout. There's no 2 ways about it. Terry Harper is a strong girl, confident. And I know a lot have been made in Matchroom about idols become rivals and stuff like that. But believe you me, mate, that's not going to be in Terry Harper's mind, and it's not going to be in Tasha Jonas's mind. This is just a fight with an awful lot to fight for. The WBC title, you know, the Premier World Championship in boxing.
You won that one time, didn't you?
Just about me, yeah. But don't be dragging me into this. It's not about me. It's about them. So as I say, mate, they're both a credit to the sport. Both girls are coming, you know, in with confidence, and rightly so. And it should be an exciting bout on Saturday, mate. Or Friday.
Stefy, finally, we saw a great week last week to kick off fight camp. Couldn't have gone any better. I mean, the great news for the girls is that we're supposed to have the pyrotechnics and fireworks on week 1 and week 4.
Yeah,
and we've paid up for week 2 and 3.
Go on, Eddie.
You've got
Always getting in your pocket, can't you? Always getting in your pocket.
I will just say, I know the focus is solely on Natasha Jonas this week, but we can't help but hear the noise and yapping of Michaela Meyer, you know, Eva Brodnicka. You know, it seems like since, you know, Terry got that box rec #1, she's the one who is, it's flattering, really.
I think I've helped by shooting it out on my social media. But listen, Eddie, you know, I'm proud of the job I do with Terry. I work very hard. I give her every minute, and I'm that confident that I've got someone very special. And sometimes we're in boxing a lifetime, and something happens that's special. Tony had it with Dave Colwell, I believe. And something happens something special happens, and we're on a great journey. And them kind of fights down the line will be great. But we've got an hard fight on Saturday, and we're more than focused on that. And we just can't wait for it. Just want to get in now and get cracking.
Well, making history, the first ever All-British Women's World Championship fight at Fight Camp this Friday night. Good luck to you, Stefy, and best wishes to Terry.
Cheers.
And hopefully Natasha and Joe will be there shortly.
Thank you.
Well done for being there, lads.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Stefy.
In a bit, guys.
Well, there we have it. Done and dusted. Fight Camp week 2. It's going to be tough to replicate, to outperform Fight Camp week 1, Tony. But these guys, obviously, and ladies, the benefit of seeing Fight Camp week 1, and I think they're going to want to go out there and put a show on themselves.
Of course, as I said before, and we've touched on throughout the show, you need to make names for themselves. You know, make sure your name is being spoken about when this show's over on Friday night. Massive opportunities, huge audience on Sky Sports. You know, you've got Sky Sports News drumming it out as well, letting everyone know what's coming on Friday night. Probably the most powerful channel in Great Britain, Sky Sports News. And our shows is being pushed all the way through it and let everyone know who's going to be on Friday night. And it's a perfect opportunity for these guys. The likes of Anthony Fowler, he wants to make a name for himself. Tasha Jonas has the chance of fulfilling a childhood dream. I believe you, mate, it is a childhood dream. Hopey Price has got a chance to shine once again. And there's just all the boys, you know, who have all got opportunities here and their chance to shine. Once again, you're giving them a great place to do it. I can't believe the fucking words. You're giving them a perfect stage to do it on. Yeah. You know, that garden, mate, just looks even better. You need to. A part of me wants you to see it through the telly. I know you're there and you're watching it, but you know, when the fighters were walking, and we were talking about when I was up there last week, walking down the steps and how they walk down steps and all the fireworks. I'm not claiming that was my idea.
Matthew Macklin, you know, he used to walk out to That's Life as well. He said, "Fuck me," he said, "I've boxed all around the world. I've never had a walk on like this." You know, so it's great for them, great opportunities as well. And you know, I think Friday night's going to be a lot more fun. So do not miss it. Tune in. We start with Aqib Fayaz, seeing if he is ready for a big step up against Kane Baker. Chris Billum Smith defending his Commonwealth Cruiserweight Championship against undefeated Nathan Fawley. We go with Hopey Price, big step up against a tough Johnny Phillips. Anthony Fowler against Adam Harper, seeing if Fowler is ready to go on, maybe even face Cheeseman or Eggington or Fitzgerald or Metcalf later in the year. And the main event, the first ever All-British Women's World Championship fight between Doncaster's Terry Harper and Liverpool's Natasha Jonas. Do not miss it, 7 p.m, Sky Sports in the UK, The Zone across America, all this Friday.